Okay, so the next sample I'm going to show you is for the seam allowance for 1/4 and for 5/8. I'm first going to show you how to cut out the correct square, and then I will show you how to do the actual sewing part. So the direction says cut out 2 5x5 squares. So I'm going to take my fabric, make sure that the fabric has a right side and has a wrong side. Make sure you could tell the difference between the two. Put the fabric down on the table. Take the seam gauge, set it to 5. And I'm going to go from one edge. And then I'm going to take my pen or pencil or marker, and I'm going to mark where that edge is. It does not have to be perfect. Please do not spend all class period. Then I'm going to go 5 across, 5 down, and then 5 over. And then connect the dots to the best. Again, it does not need to be perfect. Then I need to cut it out. And there's my 5x5 square. To do another one, you could redo it with the seam gauge and pen, or you can just place it on top of the other one and just roughly cut it out. Again, it does not need to be perfect, but it does need to be a square. So I now have my 2 5x5 squares. The first one we are going to do is the 1/4 inch seam. I've already finished direction 1, so I'm going to go ahead and cross off that I did that. So the next direction says take that square and cut it in half. Take the square, cut it in half. And then I'm going to cross off that I did that direction. Then it says join right sides together, so your right side should be kissing. So right now, my right sides, so the pretty side, are kissing. Go ahead and cross it off that I did that step. Next, it says line up the edge of the squares with the 1/4 inch mark, which is the side of the presser foot. So I'm going to make sure the two edges are lined up. I'm going to line up the fabric with the side of the presser foot, which is right here, which is also the 1/4 inch mark. And I'm going to place my presser foot down on top of there. The fabric should be exactly lined up with the edge of the presser foot. I'm going to go ahead and cross it off that I lined it up. Then it says sew from one end of the fabric to the other. And don't forget to backstitch. And we always backstitch at both ends. So I'm going to take my fabric, make sure it's together. Go ahead and press on the foot control. I'm going to go forward 3 stitches, and then I'm going to backstitch, which you should have just practiced. So now that I've backstitched, I'm going to go all the way to the other end. I am following that 1/4 inch mark, which is the side of the presser foot. I am not going fast. When I get to the other end, I'm going to stop and I'm going to backstitch 3 stitches. I sewed, I did not forget to backstitch, and now I have a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to make sure that the needle is up and the take-up lever is in the up position because it needs to be in the up position every single time. Lift my presser foot, take my scissors, cut the threads, open it up, and I should have a 1/4 inch seam. I am then going to go over to the ironing board and I'm going to iron these open like that. Or I'm going to press them open. And then I am going to come and I'm going to staple my sample right here of my 1/4 inch seam. Okay, so just finished up with the 1/4 inch seam, and now we're gonna go ahead and begin on the 5/8 inch seam as well. I'm going to take my square that I have cut from before, and I'm going to follow the same directions for the 1/4 inch. The first direction says cut that square in half. So take it, and I'm gonna cut it in half. Then going to go to my directions and cross off that I did that. And the next direction said joins right sides together, so they should be kissing, and they are. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off that direction. And then the next direction says line up the edge of the squares with the 5/8 inch mark. It is the third line or the first large line. So bring my sewing machine back over. Going to take the edge of my fabric and I'm going to line it up with the 5/8 inch seam, which is the third line or the first long line. And then put my presser foot down on top of it. I'm going to go ahead and cross off that I did that. And then it says sew from one end of the fabric to the other. Don't forget to backstitch. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the 1/4 inch seam. Sew forward to 3 stitches, backstitch, and then sew all the way to the other end and backstitch. Again, I am following the 5/8 line. Going slow to make sure that I'm following that line the entire time. As you see, my hands are not here near the needle, they are to the side. When I get to the end, I'm going to stop and I'm going to backstitch 3 stitches. My needle is down and my take-up lever needs to be up, so I'm going to turn the hand wheel towards me until the take-up lever is up. Then I can go ahead and lift my presser foot, pull it out, cut the threads, open it up, and I should have a 5/8 inch seam now. I'm then going to go to the ironing board and I am going to press this flat. When I come back, I will then staple it below my 1/4 inch sample. Do not forget to cross off the rest of your directions that you have completed them.